Our game starts to resemble a complete project. However, there are some parts that are missing, such as escape menu and main menu, and in this video we're gonna focus on creating this escape menu. Here you can press resume, and when you press escape, this menu is open. Let's see how I've made it. We're gonna create this widget inside our Asteroid Component. So for this I've added a forward declaration for user widget. Then I created a public blueprint callable function called toggle escape widget. Then I have a variable called escape widget class. This is a T subclass of user widget, and I put it inside UI subcategory inside configuration. Then I have another variable for input mapping context. This time it's gonna be called player UI mapping context. And then I also have a T object pointer, your input action, toggle escape widget action. And then I have a create escape widget function where we're gonna create this widget, and I store a pointer to this created widget as a variable here. Inside CPP class I have two includes, one for widget blueprint library and another one for user widget. So in begin play I call create escape widget. This function simply checks if we have a valid escape widget class, then I try to create a widget based on this class. Then if it's a valid object, we set visibility to collapse and add to viewport, because we don't really wanna initially that this widget be visible, so we set visibility to collapse. Then inside setup player input, I bind toggle escape widget to toggle escape widget action when the button is started. So inside this toggle widget I try to get a player controller, and if we have a valid escape widget and a valid player controller, I simply toggle the visibility. If the current visibility is collapse, I set visibility to self-hit test invisible, and I call set input mode game and UI, then I show mouse cursor and pause the game. Then in else case I do the opposite. I set the visibility to collapse, then I call set input mode game mode, and I hide mouse cursor and unpause the game. And that's all the logic we need to do in the code. We are gonna rely on some textures for our UI elements. For this I've imported some assets. The link for this asset will be in the description. So inside our assets folder, I created another folder called UI, and I imported all the image here. So when you imported everything, make sure that you select everything and click right mouse button, navigate to asset actions and click on this edit selection in property matrix. Then when this window is open, select everything here and make sure that filter is set to nearest, compression settings is set to user interface, and texture group is set to UI. Then you can press save and also select everything and click on batch rename and simply add a prefix here if you want. I already done it, so I'm not gonna do this. You press apply. Now we can talk about our inputs. For this I've opened our input folder and created another action and called it input action toggle escape menu. Very important part, I open this and check this trigger when paused. We need this to be able to press escape when game is paused, otherwise we won't be able to hide our escape widget by pressing escape key. Then I have a mapping context. Inside this I've added mappings and I selected toggle escape menu here and bind this to escape. You can either select it here or press this button, then press escape. Then we need to open our BP player, and inside this player I selected toggle escape widget action and set our UI mapping context, and we can actually remove this part because we no longer need it, and press compile. Now we can create our escape widget. To create a widget, navigate to UI folder and select user interface and click on widget blueprint, select user widget here and name it WBP_escape. Open this widget and select an overlay here. Drag it. And now type blur and also drag it. Expand this blur and set blur strength to 3. Now select another overlay, drop it, and call it panel overlay. This one we can call to root overlay. Yeah. This one should be centered. Now select an image, drop it. In my case, I'm gonna use T main panel second because that's how I call this image. If you do the same thing that I did, you should have the same name. Then select the text, not image text, drop it and center it and give it maybe 15 as a top padding. Font is too big, let's change it maybe to 24. Yes, this one looks about right. And give it a temporal value of game is paused. Now we need to create a vertical box because we're gonna have 2 buttons. And center it as well. Then select a button, drop it here, select another text block, and drop it here as well. Now it's too big for our case, let's make font maybe also 24 or maybe even 20. Yeah, 20 is actually fine. But you know what? I would like to wrap this vertical box with size box. So we can set minimum sizes. So we can click on child layout, select mean desired width, and set it maybe to 200. Yeah, now it looks better. Now we are ready to make a style for this button. So select style here, and for image select T button 11 if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this one, but make sure that tint is actually white and not gray. Also, I don't really like these corners, so let's remove it. For this, navigate to outline and set radius to 0. We can also make this completely transparent. And set width to 0. Yeah, now it's gone. Now we can copy this and paste to hovered, but we need to change image to button 16. Yes, now we can copy it again and paste to pressed. And call this resume button. And set text to resume. It actually doesn't matter what we set here because we're gonna rely on string tables and we're gonna add these entries soon. So now you can duplicate this and call this one exit button. And I also would like to see some spaces between those buttons, so let's add a spacer, drop it into vertical box and put it inside middle, in the middle, yeah. And set size to maybe something like 40. Yeah, looks about right. And now we would like to change a style for this button. For this button, I'm gonna use T underscore button 12. And here I'm gonna use T button 13. Yeah, that's better. And now text. Okay, great. Now we can use this WBP escape widget inside our player. So open player blueprint, navigate to UI and select our escape widget here and press compile. Now when we press play and press escape, this menu should be opened. And yeah, as you can see, it seems to be working fine. We can press again and it's gone now. And now let's show me an issue that we have right now. So when you click a mouse on button, it's okay. But when you click Here outside this button, the mouse is gone, and that is happening because we don't handle mouse click outside of these elements and game is capturing our mouse. So to prevent it, we have to open escape widget, select background blur and set visibility to visible because it's set non-hit testable, so it will ignore mouse and we don't really want it. And image should have visibility by default, and for this we also have to override mouse click on mouse button down, this one, and type handled here. Now you can connect this node to output. And now whenever we click our mouse on any elements that have visibility as visible, mouse will be handled here. So when we press play, press escape, and now I'm clicking outside of this panel and our cursor is still visible. Great. Now let's hide this widget by pressing on this resume button. This is actually very easy to do. Just click on the resume button, click is variable, scroll to bottom and select on clicked callback. Delete everything that we don't need. Here simply type get player pawn, cast it to BP player, connect this one and simply call toggle escape widget, the function that we created in the code. Press compile, and now when we press play, press escape and press resume, this widget is gone. Great. As a final step, we have to add those strings as ID inside our string table. Let's do it. For this, navigate to Assets, String Tables, and open our ST asteroid. First one is gonna be game post text. And next one is gonna be resume text. And we actually already have quit text, so we don't need to add the third one. Press save, open escape widget, select asteroid here and select game post text here. Do the same for the button text, but select restart ID. And finally, for the last button, also select this table and select quit. Now press compile. And now when we press play, texts are fine now. Great, everything seems to be working fine.